staff all across the country come to vacation. And then we decided to put hidden cameras in a very special place right here on the Vegas Strip.
How you doing today?
Inside one of the hotels is a product testing company. It solicits people to taste and then rate new foods. We used this facility to hide our hidden cameras. We agreed to pay volunteers $75 to come to this facility. They think they came here to test new food products.
Come on in, ladies.
But what we are actually doing is an experiment on the psychology of dieting. Dr. Pahlavi's first theory? Social influence. Dieters can be influenced by the people around them. So we put that to the test. The professor is posing as a marketer, testing what the volunteers think is a new type of ice cream. But it's actually Haagen-Dazs. And there's something else one of these women doesn't know. The woman on the right is actually working with Dateline. And to start off, we've instructed her to take a small amount of ice cream. Will our volunteer on the left follow her lead? Our volunteer, Stephanie, does seem to follow and takes a small amount. And then watch what happens when our accomplice pushes away her ice cream, signaling she's done. Our volunteer immediately pushes hers away too. It all happens in just 43 seconds. After we explained to Stephanie that this taste test was really a Dateline hidden camera demonstration, we asked her if she was consciously aware that she pushed her ice cream away.
I didn't even know that she pushed her bowl away. I guess I subconsciously did. I'm not quite sure. I didn't even notice she did that.
Taste the ice cream.
But now let's see if someone else's behavior can cause dieters to fall into a trap. What will happen when we instruct our accomplice on the right to take a large amount, but this time not stop eating? Remember, our volunteer thinks this is a taste test. She only needs to sample the food, but watch what happens. After 1 minute, she's still eating. 2 minutes later, she is still enjoying it. It's not until almost 4 minutes later before our volunteer stops. But did she eat more just because our accomplice kept eating?
Chocolate ice cream.
We tried our experiment again. This time, our volunteer on the left eats for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3, 4 minutes, and only stops after 5.5 minutes. So why do people seem to follow the lead of others?
We don't want to look like a pig. We don't want to look greedy. And so we watch what the other person is doing.
But that means when everyone else eats a lot, a dieter can too. Out goes the scale, and in comes the big spoon. Watch what happens to our next volunteer, Laura, when our Dateline accomplice piles on the ice cream and then never stops eating. Laura seems to be enjoying the ice cream, and when the woman working with us goes for seconds, Laura looks over and goes for seconds too.
I haven't had ice cream for so long. Free ice cream, not like good ice cream.
But what happens when our accomplice goes for thirds? Laura goes for thirds too.
Hey, ladies. How you doing?
Good. It's delicious.
Laura spent about 10 minutes eating more than 500 calories worth of ice cream. Yet she has to get just one more little bit before she leaves.
At first I was like, gosh, that's a lot of ice cream. When she was going for it, I did too.
And while our demonstration may not be scientific, Dr. Pahlavi says what we observed has been validated by her own scientific research, and it shows that family, friends, or even strangers can be a dieter's worst enemy. Influence by others is only one of Professor Pahlavi's top 3 psychological reasons why diets fail.
You really got to experience the milkshake.
When we come back,
Wouldn't it be funny if you came back and I ate all those cookies?
the temptation of food. How much will dieters eat even after they're full?
Coming up, the CDC says 2/3 of all Americans are overweight, but not all scientists agree. The story on Ion Life.
If you're tired of constantly digging through your handbag trying to find what you need Purse Bright, the ingenious handbag organizer that transforms even the most
Plus may be that when it comes to dieting, it's less about what's in the refrigerator and more about what's in your head.
We'd rather eat.
than diet. We'd rather sit on the couch than exercise. So part of the problem is that we have to make ourselves do something we don't really want to do, and that's hard, and it's hard to sustain.
So while your will wants to lose weight, your mind wants to sit around and eat. Dr. Janet Pallavi of the University of Toronto has studied dieting for 30 years, and she has developed 3 key reasons on why diets so often fail. As we saw in our first hidden camera demonstration, our volunteers, who are all women, were often influenced to eat more when people around them ate more. Professor Pallavi's second reason why diets don't work: food is a bigger temptation for dieters than it is for non-dieters. So we put that to the test. Dr. Pallavi is posing as a marketer for a new milkshake. But it's not really a new shake. It's our own homemade ambrosia, whole milk, and heaping scoops of Haagen-Dazs ice cream. About 650 calories worth.
And the first product is this new milkshake.
We asked Claudia to drink the entire filling milkshake.
Done?
Done. That was good.
It should make her feel extremely full. Now, for our test.
Oh, wait. It's my lucky day, huh?
What would happen if we dangled even more delicious treats in front of her, like 3 different types of cookies? We tell her she has to have at least 1 of each, or a total of 3 cookies. But we also tell her she can eat as many as she likes. So how many cookies would Claudia eat, especially after drinking that very filling milkshake?
Peanut butter cookies, chocolate chip cookies, and sugar cookies.
Mm-hmm.
She has 1, 2, 3, and another half. Only a half cookie more than she was required to eat. It turns out Claudia is not a dieter.
Did you like the taste of the cookie?
The cookies were good.
So why not have 2 or 3 or 4 since you said eat what you like?
That's all the cookies that I wanted right there, and I didn't want any more cookies.
Have a seat.
Now let's see how dieters react to the same situation.
And what is your name?
April.
April is a dieter, but remember, April thinks her sole reason for being here is to give her opinions on new food products.
And the first thing we want your opinion about is this milkshake.
The fact that a dieter is being forced to drink a mega-calorie milkshake is key to Dr. Pallavi's demonstration.
What we were interested in doing is making sure that they had broken their diets, that the day was essentially ruined for anybody who was trying to control their eating. Done?
So will this dieter now feel guilty and become extra careful when we tempt her with our delicious cookies? Remember, she's only required to eat a total of 3 cookies.
Focus on cookie number 1.
April eats 1, 2, and 3 cookies. And then she has a 4th and a 5th cookie, then a 6th, and finally a 7th. For a dieter, she has just fallen off the wagon. Later, April told us she did actually feel guilty after binging on all those cookies.
How come you didn't just take 1? Like, taste it, fill out the form, move on to the next.
I didn't feel that I could fill out the form properly without tasting 2 of them.
But April wasn't the only dieter in this demonstration. Christy had her milkshake. Then
If you want more of any of the cookies, that's not a problem.
we left her alone, like all the volunteers, for 12 minutes. She only needs to eat 3 cookies to do the taste test, but after those 3, she goes for another, and finally, a 6th cookie.
Were you full when those cookies were plopped down in front of you?
Absolutely.
You were full up to the top.
Yes.
So why have more?
It's my little addictive personality. There's never enough.
Professor Pallavi says this is a classic example of how the mind can outwit the diet anytime.
For a non-dieter, the stomach is what rules. And when the stomach says enough, the non-dieter says enough.
But with a dieter, it's the reverse behavior. It's the food that rules.
Once you break your diet, there seems to be this, what we call the what the hell effect. Oh, well, my diet's already broken. What the hell? I might as well just keep eating, and I'll go on a new diet tomorrow.
Christy, who packed away those extra cookies, agrees.
If you feel like you've blown your diet, you drank the whole milkshake, the diet's over.
It's done.
Did that play at all today?
What went through my head was, now what are we going to do for lunch?
Is that rational thinking?
No. Rational thinking would be to say, oh my goodness, I had a milkshake. That's more calories than I was planning on eating at this time of day. I'll have to be very careful for the rest of today.
But there's another psychological influence that can beat any diet and cause almost any prudent eaters to blow their diets. You're about to see how stress can be a dieter's worst enemy.
Coming up on Eye on Life, is there truth in the labels? A special report on how what you see may not always be what you get. Eye on Life, the channel for healthy living and active lifestyle. Watch Eye on Life today.
I don't have prescription drug coverage.
We don't have it.
We don't either.
I don't have it.
They're all different, but they all need a break on their prescriptions. And they all got one by calling this number and getting this card, the Together RX Access card.
It's for people like us.
It's for people like us.
People who don't have prescription drug coverage.
Most cardholders save 25 to 40% on brand name prescriptions.
The savings are great.
You can save on generics, too.
And now I can pay for my son's medicine.
We even made it easy to qualify.
I was surprised how easy.
If you meet these 3 simple requirements, and your household income isn't more than what you see here, then you qualify for the card. It's that easy. And best of all,
the card's free.
Free to get, free to use.
The Together RX Access card was created by some of America's best-known pharmaceutical companies to help people like you.
Like us.
Like us.
Like us.
Millions are eligible, and most pharmacies accept it. So call today or apply online.
You should sign up.
If you're like us, you'll never want to waste your time on a treadmill again.
This free DVD shows you how Bowflex's Tread Climber burns calories in half the time of a treadmill at the same speed. Call for yours now. You need to see this free DVD.
Tread Climber lets me get an amazingly effective cardio workout in 30 minutes. It's quick, it's easy, and it makes me feel great. And it's compact enough to fit anywhere in my home.
The Tread Climber machine combines the walking motion of a treadmill with the stepping motion of a stair stepper. So you do twice the work in one easy elliptical motion.
It feels sort of like walking in sand. A Tread Climber workout can burn up to twice as many calories as a treadmill at the same speed for great results in just 30 minutes.
I have to stay on a treadmill for 60 minutes to burn the same amount of calories.
Who's got time for that?
Plus, it's low impact, which keeps my knees feeling great. And if you think owning a gym quality machine is too expensive, think again. You can own your own Bowflex Tread Climber with no money down and payments as low as $23 a month.
It's a lot easier than going to a health club.
I know I have to take care of myself now if I want to look younger and feel younger. And let's face it, live longer.
And the Bowflex Tread Climber lets me do just that in a quick and easy 30-minute workout. Tread Climber simply produces results.
Bowflex built this machine so well that they even back it with a 5-year warranty. If you're serious about your health and you want to get a gym quality workout at home, then you need Tread Climber.
Call right now for your free DVD. It shows you why the Bowflex Tread Climber machine burns calories and works your heart faster than any treadmill on the market today.
Would you like firm thighs, tight glutes, flatter abs, a strong core, and increased metabolism? Well, Bowflex guarantees results in just 6 weeks. Call the number on the screen to get a free DVD or video that tells you about the most important innovation in home fitness ever, the Bowflex Tread Climber.
And now back to an Eye on Life special presentation.
Professor Janet Polivy of the University of Toronto says stress is the third reason why diets fail. But could she prove it? We were ready for our next hidden camera demonstration. But first, we had to come up with a way to stress out our volunteers.
Now, don't worry, this wasn't going to be a major stressful situation. Here's what we did. First, we created a fictitious brand of cereal called Vanilla Puffs. Next, we created a word game and designed it to look very childlike. We told our volunteers we were going to put the word game on the back of the box, and we wanted them to try to solve the puzzle, sort of a trial run before the kids had to go at it. What we didn't tell them was that many of the words were impossible to solve because they weren't real words.
I had to convince people that they weren't able to do a task that was designed for 8-year-old children.
I'm Janet Polivy.
We're about to see if our volunteers like Cheryl react to stress by eating a lot of food. But first, we are going to artificially stress them out by asking them to solve an unsolvable word puzzle.
The first thing that we're thinking of doing for the kids is just a little word game, little anagrams.
Yes, those are cool.
Anagrams are scrambled letters that, when unscrambled, spell a word. So, for example, T-I-P-N-O spells point.
The kids, Lord, I'm not good at puzzles, but you want me to do the puzzle.
Yeah, we want you to do the puzzle.
To slightly increase the stress, we put a ticking clock directly in front of the volunteers and then told them they only had a few minutes to solve the word puzzle.
So you left them in that room with that timer trying to unscramble words, some of which couldn't be solved at all.
No.
Cheryl becomes frustrated as she's unable to figure out the words.
So I don't know whether your words are difficult or I'm just a dumb adult. So.
Suddenly, her time is up.
Is snugger a word?
I don't think so.
I didn't think so either.
She's probably feeling embarrassed, and that is stressful. So what will happen when we bring in 3 plates brimming with cookies?
As you can see, the product that I'm going to have you test for us are cookies.
Okay.
We waited to see how many cookies Cheryl would eat in a 10-minute period. Would she go on a binge-eating spree after we pumped up her stress level? She must eat at least 1 of each cookie, or a total of 3.
Okay, and I will leave you to it, and I'll be back in a little while.
She quickly grabs for her first cookie, then a second, a third, a fourth, and then she stops. Cheryl is not a dieter. We talked to her later.
A lot of dieters, they say, when they're stressed, they eat. Are you a stress eater yourself?
Actually, I think I'm the opposite. If I'm stressed, then I don't eat.
When non-dieters are stressed, when we're all stressed, our bodies actually say, don't eat, because stress prepares us for fight or flight. You don't stop and eat if you're being chased by a lion.
But what happens when dieters are put in the same situation? How many cookies would they eat?
And so here are some 6-letter anagrams, and I'm going to get you to rearrange them.
Oh, geez. Our volunteer, Teresa, struggles. And before she knows it, her time is up.
So how'd you do?
It was hard for me, and I'm even a teacher, and I like doing these things.
I can't really interview you on it.
Oh, no. Am I just an idiot?
No. Let's move on, because
After that stressful situation, we bring on the cookies. And then we leave Teresa alone. She's currently on a low-carb diet, but within the first 3 minutes, Teresa has 1, 2, 3 cookies, and then she has a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, and finally, a 7th cookie.
So there you were with those cookies, and you had a lot of them, right?
Yes.
Was that stress-related for you?
I wouldn't even have put 2 and 2 together, but now that I think back at it, yeah, it could have been.
I'm Janet Pallavi.
And look at another one of our volunteers. Elizabeth has tried Weight Watchers and Slim Fast diets in the past. As expected, she struggles with the puzzle. And then we bring on the cookies.
Feel free to have whichever ones you want.
Within 2 minutes, Elizabeth has 1, 2, 3, and then a 4th cookie. Then she goes on to have another, and another, a 7th, and finally an 8th cookie.
As you were eating those cookies, and you had 8, did you feel better after you'd eaten those?
Not necessarily better about eating the cookies, but I felt better.
Were you hungry?
No.
Really?
No. I ate lunch late. I had a late lunch, so no, I wasn't hungry. I was just, it's there, let's eat it.
I mean, it seems to me that when you feel terrible because of stress, you do want something that calms you down, and often it is food. Chocolate, Doritos.
Food is pleasurable when you're hungry. When you're not hungry, there isn't a physiological reason why it should necessarily be pleasurable. I want you to taste.
Now, in all 3 of our demonstrations, not every volunteer reacted as predicted. Some of the non-dieters ate more than expected, and some of the dieters ate less than expected. Still, Dr. Pallavi says the examples we just showed you are consistent with the conclusions from her scientific research.
Help yourself
So how can people who want to lose weight use this information? Let's take a look at our first demonstration, social influence. We saw that other people can cause you to eat significantly more simply because they're eating more.
Be aware that you might be influenced by what other people are doing, and that if they're eating a lot, you should be ultra careful to make sure that you're paying attention to what your own stomach says, not what their stomachs say.
And the first product is this new milkshake.
And remember our temptation demonstration where dieters convince themselves as long as they overate, they may as well fall all the way off the wagon? Dr. Pallavi says it comes down to not turning certain foods into forbidden fruit.
Don't ever say that I can't have cookies or I can't have milkshake.
What should you say then?
You should say, I will eat a nice, well-rounded, healthy diet with a lot of different foods, and I will have my favorite foods and my treats in moderation.
So how'd you do?
It was hard for me, and I'm even a teacher, and I like doing these things.
And what about when stress causes dieters to binge on food?
One thing that they need to be aware of is that stress is going to make them feel more like breaking their diets. And they can find ways of being good to themselves and comforting themselves that don't involve eating. They need to think about it ahead of time before they're in the situation.
So like
it's very
what?
hard when you're in the situation.
What else could you do other than eating when you're stressed?
You could go for a walk. You could take a bubble bath or go and read a trashy magazine for an hour, but not near the kitchen.
And what's the biggest lesson for dieters? Again, it is not in the diet, it's in the mind.
Coming up, the CDC says 2/3 of all Americans are overweight, but not all scientists agree. The story on Eye on Life.
If you have back pain, arthritis, fibromyalgia, tendinitis, any kind of joint and muscle pain or stiffness at all, you finally have a safe, effective relief. Dr. Frank's homeopathic joint and muscle pain relief.
I had a lot of fear that I would be crippled at a very young age. It was a miracle that I found something safe and that had such dramatic pain relief.
Dr. Frank's is all natural. Just spray here and stop all your pain everywhere. For the first time ever, these 10 homeopathic ingredients have been combined in a revolutionary oral spray that stops inflammation, pain, and stiffness.
I pretty much quit tennis just because of the pounding. Since using this spray, my pain and tenderness and swelling and soreness and stiffness has gone.
If you have any kind of joint and muscle pain or stiffness, Dr. Frank's Joint and Muscle Pain Relief is the safe, all-natural relief you've been searching for.
I have no pain in my knees, no sciatica, and I'm pain-free.
I'm Dr. Ken Frank. I'm a medical doctor. There is a safe way to stop your pain, and I guarantee that your daily aches and pains, whether mild or severe, will stop or significantly decrease with this formula.
Start living your life pain-free. Try safe, effective Dr. Frank's risk-free. Call now and get a 200-spray trial bottle for only $19.95.
It was as though someone has given me an electric shock that went up the arm, and I could not do that. Now, I can't get that pain no matter how far I turn my arm. And now I'm playing tennis again.
Call now and spray away your pain in days. Call now for your risk-free trial bottle of Dr. Frank's Joint and Muscle Pain Relief. Ask how to double the supply for free. And also ask how to get for free Dr. Frank's 100-page book about natural and safe pain relief without drugs.
Call now, 1-800-957-5174. 1-800-957-5174. That's 1-800-957-5174.
Dr. Frank's pain relief really works.
Is your New Year's resolution to get in shape? Check out Resolution Solution on Exercise TV on demand, free with digital cable. Or go to exercisetv.tv to select your goal, and you'll get a customized, on-demand routine that'll feel like it was made just for you. It's all part of our prescription workout series, and it's only on Exercise TV on demand.
And now, back to an Eye on Life special presentation.
We're simply too fat, we're told. And so even our own government nags us about slimming down. And then we get harped at by official health agencies which tell us obesity is now an epidemic that could kill almost as many people as smoking. Which makes what this man is about to say all the more audacious. Health risk? National epidemic? baloney, says Paul Campos. We're being fed a plate of lies.
The obesity epidemic that we're hearing so much about is largely a product of cultural hysteria and moral panic.
Hysteria? Panic? Campos is a university professor in Colorado who spent the last 5 years researching and writing the obesity myth. That's right, myth. Campos accuses the government and the health establishment of duping people into believing that losing weight makes you healthy.
The scientific data simply does not support these claims. We're undergoing some sort of serious health crisis because of increasing weight.
If overweight is so dangerous, asked Campos, why aren't we dropping like flies from fat-induced disease? In fact, if you believe Campos, you may not really be fat at all. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, nearly 2/3 of Americans are either overweight or obese. But Campos claims that's simply not true, because the science behind the government's method of classifying Americans as underweight, normal, overweight, or obese is flawed, he says. That measurement is called the Body Mass Index, or BMI, and it's a calculation using a person's weight and height. Anybody with a number over 25 is considered overweight. Over 30, and you're obese. Everybody has a number, no matter who you are.
Well, according to his own public health authorities, George W. Bush is overweight. He has a BMI of about 26, which means that he weighs more than the government says is appropriate for a man of his height.
Campos says his research turned up some outrageous examples.
We are putting the definition for overweight at such a low level that the large majority of the American population is supposedly overweighted now, including people like Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt? But why would government agencies and medical researchers want to make us think we're too fat and unhealthy if we aren't? Here's where Campos moves in for the kill. All that attention to our excess weight is less a matter of health, says Campos, and more about making money.
You portray yourself as an advocate for truth and honesty and say that obesity research is funded by the diet and drug industry, which influences every step of the process?
Absolutely.
And you stand by that?
Absolutely.
These are serious charges. Campos accuses researchers at institutions as revered as Harvard of having such an appetite for grant money and other funding generated by the huge diet industry that they allow themselves to misread the results of their own science, claiming overweight is more dangerous than it actually is.
When you have a $50 billion incentive, because it's a $50 billion a year industry in the United States, to come to certain conclusions, that's a pretty strong incentive.
That figure, based on projections cited by the Federal Trade Commission, is money generated by diet aids, weight loss programs, health club memberships, so-called diet foods, and so on. Well, we worry about getting slim, Campos claims. The universities and diet doctors fatten up on our money.
So, one angry man finally to the rescue? Or is it more like sabotage?
And if this guy discourages one person from seeking the help they need, he may be hurting someone's health.
You might not be surprised to hear that most obesity experts do not like what Paul Campos has to say. Dr. David Heber is the director of the Center for Human Nutrition at UCLA and the author of his own diet book, The LA-Shaped Diet.
I've been spending the past 20 years trying to increase the profile of obesity as a medical problem.
Campos, says Dr. Heber, has tapped into the frustration many people who've tried to lose weight certainly feel, and has told them what they might want to hear, but has not told them the truth, which is, says Heber, this.
If you have that extra 20 or 30 pounds in the middle, you better do something about it.
Dr. Heber says the science is solid. It's Campos who has misread the research, he says, and simply doesn't get it.
Weight does not equal obesity. Fat equals obesity. That's the fatal error and the fatal flaw in this book.
It's not just losing weight, says Dr. Heber, but specifically targeting excess body fat that helps prevent very real medical problems.
For the vast majority of Americans, obesity is increasing their risk of diabetes, heart disease, and hypertension, as well as common forms of cancer.
Let me ask you about a few of the quotes in his book. Almost everything is distorted or untrue, and it is so because those who are doing the distorting, I think that's to say you and people like you, are trying to make money.
Oh, well, basically corrupt. Let me turn it around and say that people are always guilty of what they accuse you of. So everything in his book is a gross distortion, greatly exaggerates a grain of truth, and is done for personal profit.
What's the grain of truth that's greatly exaggerated?
The grain of truth here is that the BMI was never intended to be an individual diagnostic device.
Dr. Heber says nobody would call President Bush fat.
It turns out that their percent body fats are actually low.
Increased muscle may contribute to a higher body weight, says Dr. Heber, thus a higher BMI number. But for many Americans, excess muscle is not the issue. And a person's BMI number can be helpful, he says, when it's used appropriately.
We use the body mass index as a screening tool, much as you use blood sugar or blood pressure, and then we look at the patient.
And he adds, the interpretation Campos takes of the medical evidence has resulted in a version of reality that is simply wrong.
What I think is going on here is a lot of lawyering. They're taking one term and misapplying it. If we were in a courtroom today, I'd say, Your Honor, I object.
Lawyering? Well, yes. One thing Dr. Heber says Americans might want to keep in mind when they consider Campos's claims.
I have not gone to medical school. I'm a lawyer.
And as a lawyer, you know that if you were going to be put on a stand to be an expert witness, somebody would grill you for quite a long time about your medical experience, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would.
Where did you get your degree? Where did you get your advanced degree? Where did you get your specialty degree? How many papers have you written? How many accolades have you received for your work in medical research? And you have to answer, none.
That's right.
And then there's this admission, you could call it, which law professor Campos passes on to his readers. While writing his book, lost nearly 70 pounds. Campos, who denies any financial motivation, says, along the way, he kept his focus on getting active and eating healthy foods, not the numbers on the scale. Because, though his advice may run contrary to what Dr. Heber and other experts advise, Campos claims simply losing weight doesn't improve health.
If you're engaging in healthy habits and losing weight, isn't that a good thing?
If you're engaging in healthy habits, that's a good thing.
As opposed to dangerous things, Campos says, like yo-yo dieting or taking diet pills. The sorts of results, he said, that come when official public health agencies pressure people to lose weight. So Campos sticks by his critique of the health and diet industry, but has actually wound up living by the very advice that his opponent offers everybody.
What I'd like people to do is change their diet, lose the fat, build the muscle, lift weights, do aerobic exercise, get into the best shape you possibly can.
Coming up on Eye on Life, is there truth in the labels? A special report on how what you see may not always be what you get. What is Eye on Life? Eye on Life is exhilaration. Eye on Life is competition. Eye on Life is satisfaction in knowing that you are the best that you can be. Eye on Life is television that brings you entertainment programming, which promotes healthy living, active lifestyle, and personal development. Watch Eye on Life today. For more information, go to eyeonlife.tv.
At eHarmony, you don't search for a match. We bring highly compatible matches to you based on 29 proven dimensions of compatibility. Log on to eHarmony.com and get your personality profile, a $50 value, free.
Are you tired of struggling with embarrassing facial hair? Well, put that tweezer and mirror away, because now it's easy with Tweezy. Tweezy is an amazing breakthrough that not only automatically finds, grasps, and removes unwanted hair, but helps keep hair from growing back for weeks. Guaranteed.
The secret is Tweezy's patented technology that attracts hair like a magnet from every angle, so it's virtually impossible to miss a hair. It's 30 times faster than ordinary tweezers.
And unlike razors or trimmers that cause ugly stubbles, Tweezy removes hair from the root, so you can go for weeks without worrying about unwanted hair.
Watch, we used a trimmer on one side of this chin and Tweezy on the other. And look, 6 weeks later, the Tweezy side is still smooth.
There's never been anything like it. If you can feel it, Tweezy can remove it.
I used to use trimmers every day, but I used Tweezy on my lips 6 weeks ago, and it's still smooth.
Sometimes it's hard to see if I got all the hairs on my face. But with Tweezy, I have confidence that all my embarrassing hairs are gone, and it lasts for weeks.
Tweezy is portable, safe, and gentle. Use Tweezy to remove unwanted hair around your chin, lip, underarms, legs, feet, and more. At last, you can have a beautiful bikini line. No more razor burn, no more waxing. Electrolysis is expensive, and plucking takes forever. But Tweezy is easy. You'll never have to worry about unwanted hair again. But wait, call within the next 10 minutes and you'll get M-Joy's hair growth inhibitor. Helps leave skin soft and hair-free for weeks. Imagine that's a $60 value, all for only $19.95.
I guarantee Tweezy is the best way to remove unwanted hair for weeks or your money back. Just remember, if it's easy, it's Tweezy. Call now.
Call 1-800-610-4275 to get your Tweezy hair remover for $19.95. Call now and get the bonus hair growth inhibitor absolutely free. That's 1-800-610-4275.
If you're like us, you'll never want to waste your time on a treadmill again.
This free DVD shows you how Bowflex's Tread Climber burns calories in half the time of a treadmill at the same speed. Call for yours now. You need to see this free DVD.
Tread Climber lets me get an amazingly effective cardio workout in 30 minutes. It's quick, it's easy, and it makes me feel great. And it's compact enough to fit anywhere in my home.
The Tread Climber machine combines the walking motion of a treadmill with the stepping motion of a stair stepper. So you do twice the work in one easy elliptical motion.
It feels sort of like walking in sand.
Plus it's low impact, which keeps my knees feeling great.
I know I have to take care of myself now if I want to look younger and feel younger. Tread Climber simply produces results. Call right now for your free DVD. It shows you why the Bowflex Tread Climber machine burns calories and works your heart faster than any treadmill on the market today.
And now back to an Eye on Life special presentation.
It seems everywhere you look, low carb has become high priority. You want bread, you want pasta, you want fast food, and who would believe a low-carb sandwich from a chain with the name of Blimpie? These foods are low carb, right? The carb count, it's right there on the label in black and white. The government doesn't have a real definition of what low carb really is, but for those of you counting carbs, here is the question. Is what you see on those labels really what you get? To answer that question, reporters at NBC stations around the country have been testing low-carb foods. In Los Angeles, KNBC tested pizza, muffins, and cake. The carb claims didn't add up. In Boston, WHDH found cookies and bread with up to 6 times the carbs promised. In Miami, WTVJ tested pasta and tortilla chips. Each gave consumers more carbs than they bargained for. So Dateline decided to do some shopping and testing of our own. We randomly selected more than 50 low-carb items, including fast food, restaurant meals, and packaged goods like pasta, breads, and cookies. We also tested 14 low-carb products made by the Atkins organization itself. Dateline hired Sanapure Labs to test the products for net carbs. That's total carbs minus dietary fiber and sugar alcohol, a concept Dr. Atkins promoted and now many low-carb food manufacturers have adopted. Lab director Ron Schnitzer walked us through the testing process. It's not what you would call a mouth-watering experience. That sandwich looked a lot better before we threw it in there.
By the time it's through,
Yeah?
you might not want to eat it anymore.
Every product is blended into a nasty-looking mush, which is then weighed, heated, liquefied, and incubated for at least 16 hours. So how did our low-carb food test shape up? The test results were filled with some real surprises. In the winner's circle, Burger King. Its claim of a low-carb bunless hamburger was no whopper. It's supposed to have 5 grams of net carbs. One we sampled was much lower, only 1.2 grams. 2 major restaurant chains, Subway and TGI Fridays, have low-carb menus approved by the Atkins organization. One of the 4 Subway wraps tested slightly higher. At this New York Subway, coincidentally located in the Subway, the turkey bacon melt wrap listed at 10 grams of net carbs had more than 12. Subway says the wrap we got was too big and not made to formula.
So this is the Atkins stuff right here.
2 out of 6 meals from TGI Fridays also had carb counts different than the menu. The buffalo wing should be 5 grams of net carbs. Our test showed 7.68. TGI Fridays says the food preparer put too much blue cheese in our meal. And did the Atkins produced foods pass our test? Yes, with flying colors. Of the 14 Atkins products we tested, 9 actually had fewer net carbs than on the label. 4 were perfect, and 1 was slightly above what the label said.
We do independent testing to confirm what we claim on our label.
But some low-carb products didn't fare as well. Dariel penne pasta. The label says 10 grams of net carbs. Our test revealed almost 15.
How many net carbs is that one?
Whole Foods low-carb rye bread should be 4 grams of net carbs. Our lab showed nearly double. And the low-carb Creation Snickerdoodle cookie should have 2 grams of net carbs. Our test showed double that. Whole Foods actually thanked Dateline for pointing out a problem on the label and pulled the bread off the shelves. Low Carb Creation says they're retesting their Snickerdoodle cookie and say test results can vary. The Dariel people challenge our results and say the pasta tests differently after it's been on the shelf for a while.
Let's say a product is off by a couple of carbs here or there. I mean, what's a few carbs among friends? Does it really matter?
If you're so conscious about this diet, 1 extra gram of carbohydrate will throw you off.
Especially if you're starting the Atkins diet and can only have 20 net carbs a day. And then there is the tale of 2 blimpies. In this chain, one store turned out the clear loser in our low-carb test. At this Manhattan blimpie, a ham and Swiss sandwich listed on the menu at 8.5 grams of net carbs. But our test showed it contained more than 40 grams. The buffalo chicken and cheese sandwich that was supposed to be just 7 grams of net carbs came in at a whopping 45 grams. Both sandwiches contained about as many carbs as a regular blimpie sub with all the dressings. Blimpie says the problem may have been either in the way the sandwich was prepared or in how we ordered, but twice we asked for low-carb sandwiches.
Sandwiches? Okay. Let me have a ham and Swiss sandwich and one of the buffalo chicken and cheese sandwiches too.
Across the river in New Jersey, 2 carb counter sandwiches from this Blimpies tested exactly right. Overall, more than 27% of the samples Dateline tested had higher net carbs than they were supposed to. Half were lower than the label said, and 23% came in where they were supposed to.
When I go to the store and I pick up something and I look at net carbs and it says 3, do I believe what I'm reading?
I don't think the consumer has any way of knowing what they're actually getting.
Not encouraging news, which unfortunately brings us back to the most despised diet concept: eat less.
Coming up on Eye on Life, a close-up look at good carbs and bad carbs. Watch Eye on Life today. Call your cable operator and ask for Eye on Life.
Every time you try to put your necklace on, it's a hassle. That's because you have to get those 2 tiny little clasps to hook together. And if you got long nails, forget it. You actually need someone to do it for you. But now, putting on your jewelry just got a lot easier, because now there's Clever Clasp, the magnetic jewelry clasp that attaches to any necklace. Then just bring them together and they click and lock. Simply attach a Clever Clasp to each end of your jewelry, and that's it. Bring them together and your jewelry's on, even behind your back when you can't see what you're doing. Watch, just get them close and your jewelry's on. Clever Clasp is available in silver or gold to complement all your jewelry. Plus, the super strength magnets are guaranteed to grip and never slip. So even your heaviest necklaces are perfectly secure. And no more hassling to get your bracelets on either. With Clever Clasp, it's a snap, perfect for anyone who has trouble seeing or difficulty reaching back to hook their necklace. Even with long nails, Clever Clasp is a snap. Plus, our deluxe Clever Clasp has a built-in locking device to keep all your jewelry safe and secure. Just bring them together, and your jewelry is on. So stop struggling with your jewelry or relying on someone else to help.
Call now and get a set of 4 gold Clever clasps, a $30 value for only $14.99. As an added bonus, you'll also receive our 3-inch extender chain. It's perfect for adding extra length to your necklaces or just to make your jewelry a little more comfortable around your neck. But wait, call right now and we'll double the offer and also give you 4 silver Clever clasps and a 3-inch silver extender absolutely free. That's right, you get 8 Clever clasps, 4 gold and 4 silver, plus 2 extender chains. An incredible $60 value for just $14.99. But you have to call now.
To order your Clever clasp, call 1-800-729-8095. That's 1-800-729-8095. Don't delay. Call now at 1-800-729-8095.
Does Scalp Med work?
I really can see the difference. I can see this hair coming in.
I have hair on my head. I can brush my hair now.
Within 2 months, I've got my hair back.
It's just like a second chance on life.
No hormones, no surgery.
There's nothing better out there. It's your own hair growing back. It's your own hair growing back.
I can pull on it. It's not going anywhere, and I don't have a handful anymore.
To have hair without having to go through a surgical procedure is terrific.
The results were ridiculous. They were amazing.
It's all there, and it's all great, and I love it.
Terrific results.
I feel like I have a life. My joy is back. My peace is back.
It was nothing short of a miracle for me. I'm a brand new man.
I've got hair on my head. Thanks to Scalp Med.
It works.
It works.
It works for me. I am living proof that Scalp Med works.
Scalp Med works. It works. It works.
Call now and try Scalp Med absolutely risk-free. And if you're currently using a hair growth product, take the Scalp Med Challenge. Simply replace what you're using with Scalp Med for just 2 months. You're absolutely 100% guaranteed to be happier with Scalp Med, or you can use all of it and return the empty bottles for a complete refund of the purchase price. So pick up the phone and try Scalp Med with no risk at all. This offer will never, ever be available in stores. Call now and ask about priority shipping, or for even faster service, visit scalpmed.com.
And now back to an Eye on Life special presentation.
Please step on the scale. Please step on the scale.
By now, we all know.
Your weight is 158 pounds.
If you want to lose weight, carbohydrates are out and protein is in. Diet after diet tells us to say goodbye to bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, and sugar. Cutting your carbs is suddenly as American as avoiding apple pie. But for a lot of us, going low carb is less of a fad and more a new way of life. Americans are dramatically changing their ways of eating. Bread sales are down. Pasta sales are flat. Fewer people want fries with that. And orange juice? Well, it's full of sugar. And it's not always for breakfast anymore. So the food business is scrambling to reinvent itself. Whatever happened to a brew and a burger? It's enough to make you wonder, is bread dead? Meet Nick Pyle, a man hard at work making sure that the government's food guide pyramid with bread at its base remains as unchanged as the Capitol Dome. Nick is a lobbyist, but he's not twisting arms for big tobacco or for the car makers. Nick lobbies on behalf of bread. Typically, he lobbies on issues like crop subsidies, but that was before Dr. Atkins rewrote America's menus.
What's going on in this country? Don't people like bread anymore? People love bread. They enjoy bread. Bread's very important, but we're a bread-based society.
Nick's job is to tell lawmakers exactly that.
When you go to Capitol Hill to lobby these guys, what do you tell them? Carbohydrates have suddenly gotten this dirty image and they shouldn't really have it?
Well, first and foremost, it's time to quit making Americans a victim of the foods they eat. It's time that people recognize the role of personal responsibility in their dietary choices.
So the new message of the food industry is
It isn't our fault, and it isn't our food's fault. Don't blame the bread. Don't blame the pasta. Blame yourself. Don't eat so damn much.
I would have to agree with you there. I think it's important that people not blame their obesity of being a victim of the foods that they eat.
But making that argument is only one small part of how carbs are fighting back. Last fall, the bread industry held its first ever national summit to address how to fix its image and keep bread sales from crumbling. The conference was held in November, which was National Bread Month, thanks to the hard work of guys like Nick Pyle. At the summit, bakers tried to plot their way back to the hearts and stomachs of Americans.
Bread may have taken a licking, but it keeps on ticking.
Was the bread industry slow in realizing the popularity of low-carb diets and how that was going to basically hit them in the bottom line?
I think what the bread industry needed to do was take a look at the bestseller list. There were all these low-carbohydrate books. Yeah, it worked out great.
Barbara Fairchild is editor-in-chief of Bon Appetit magazine. You've been watching how people in this country eat for a long time. If you were advising the carbohydrate industry, what would you tell them?
I have to be honest and say that most of the bread in this country that is created for the mass market is really not very good.
And there might be another revolution coming, because just as bread and its starchy cousins are getting an image makeover, a new threat looms on the food horizon. In the same way there are some good fats and some bad fats, there are good and bad carbohydrates? Yes. Dr. David Ludwig of Children's Hospital in Boston is looking at a way of differentiating so-called good carbs from bad by measuring how quickly particular carbohydrates break down into sugar once you eat them. It's called the glycemic index.
The more rapidly carbohydrate is turned into sugar, the higher its glycemic index. The refined starchy foods, bread, rice, potato products, and most prepared breakfast cereals are rapidly converted into sugar and have a high glycemic index, whereas fruits, vegetables, nuts, and legumes are digested much more slowly.
Every food is given a number based on how quickly it turns into sugar and is used up by the body. White bread and potatoes get a high number. Whole grains and veggies get a low one. Ludwig found that people who ate a diet full of low-index foods, which take longer to digest, stayed full longer and were less hungry. So if I eat a bowl of Rice Krispies in the morning thinking that, you know, it'll stick to my ribs, odds are I'll be hungrier than if I had some fruit.
There's fundamentally no difference between a bowl of unsweetened Rice Krispies and a bowl of sugar itself.
That idea that starchy carbs raise your blood sugar and make you feel hungry quicker is a big part of the science behind many of today's popular low-carb diets. But scientists like Ludwig say it's not just a diet, but the new way we should look at all food.
Carrots. Good. Let's take it. But let's make sure to get some green leafy vegetables.
All right.
This would be kale. Goes beautifully with a little bit of broccoli.
Kale goes well with everything.
Kale goes with a little butternut squash.
Butternut squash. That's good.
Know. It's starchy, but it's low glycemic index starch.
Really? This is not like full of sugar?
No, it's got natural sugars.
Because on Atkins, they tell you not to eat this.
Well, this is not the Atkins diet.
Yeah, new sheriff in town, huh?
That's right.
But while using a glycemic index would give a passing grade to brown carbohydrates like wheat bread and brown rice, it would still discourage us from eating white bread. And now there's talk of putting the glycemic index right on the package, the way they do in Australia. Bread lobbyist Nick Pyle is simply appalled.
If you look at the glycemic index, and you're going to base your entire diet on it, then you're telling me that jelly beans are better for you than carrots, and I don't think that holds up.
How badly would doing that hurt your business?
I don't know. How badly did putting warning labels on cigarettes hurt their business?
Can you conceive of a day in the American diet in which we'll be sort of watching the glycemic index and counting that the way people used to count fat grams?
Oh gosh, I hope not. I hope that we don't get to that day. It's sort of dinner table Armageddon, I think. Maybe we won't have cell phones anymore. We'll just all be sitting at the table with calculators.
You've been watching an Eye on Life.